So you're making a new webtoon comic, you got your story, you got your art, so you're all set, right? Not quite. There are a few other things you should have before you launch. Hey, Walter here, doing what I can to make comics easier because it shouldn't be overwhelming or daunting to tell your story. I make videos about making comics, so make sure you hit that subscribe and like buttons if you're into that, or if you just like cute puppies. Alright, so first up, I launched my new comic, Ghost Bats, on Webtoon. It's about a rock band that tours the universe, fights other bands using giant monsters that they control with their music. Check it out, read it for free, like, subscribe, and rate. I even got some sweet shirts if you need some fresh gear. Alright, so obviously art and story are the meat and potatoes of a webcomic, but there are a few other things you should have in place to make sure your comic has the best chance of success. Best part, you can also apply these to comics if you have already launched them. Alright, so the first big thing is going to be your buffer. The buffer size is going to depend on the stability of your schedule and also the update schedule you want to keep. Now, so the way I think about it is, how many episodes would you need to be able to take an entire month off and still stay on schedule? That's a good place to start. Second, post more than just one episode when you launch. Webtoon has this feature where readers will be asked if they want to subscribe after they have read 3 episodes, so shoot for that at launch. And here's a couple personal preferences of mine. Feel free to disagree and completely ignore. Don't have insanely long episodes. Readers do like long episodes, but I don't want to have to set aside 20 minutes just to read a single episode. Break that up into smaller chunks. Compare it with your favorite webtoons to kind of get an idea of what length is going to be good for you. Don't have your first episode be a teaser. Your first episode should be an episode. Same goes for single image cover episodes. Put the cover at the start of a full episode if you want to use it. The reason I say this is because it kind of feels like a bait and switch to me. Like, someone tells me to check out their comic, I click on the link to read a comic, and it's just a pinup. It kind of makes me surly, but then again, it's very much a personal pet peeve. Okay, back into stuff that's not so pet peevish. Have a really solid thumbnail. This is going to be the first thing that readers see. Having a good thumbnail is going to make them want to click. So thumbnails should be clear and concise. You know that scene in the movie where they're all like, oh, we can only send one word to warn everybody. What word do we send? Your thumbnail should be like that. Don't shove a whole bunch of stuff in there, every character, monster, location, every bad guy. You just need an image that shows a taste of the art and the mood of the story. If it's a fun story, maybe show your main character laughing. If it's a horror story, maybe show someone looking all grim and gaunt. The image is probably going to be a head and shoulder shot. Having a scene or a background is going to clutter the image too much, and it's going to be too small to even tell what we're looking at anyways. And this also applies to your episode thumbnails as well, so put some thought into the images you pick. If someone goes to your page, they will see these images, but you can also have a larger variety here. Don't make them all the same headshot or just use numbers or letters. Show off a range of images to further entice optimal clickage. A really cool example is Nocturne by Faya. He uses thumbnails to create a single long image across multiple episodes. It's also a hella cool comic. Hella creepy as well, so make sure you check it out. The next thing people may or may not see is your summary. Put some time and thought into the summary. You need to excite potential readers. Let them know how unbelievably charming your characters are, or how mysterious the story is going to be. Focus on the big picture. Don't get stuck on little details that readers aren't going to care about until they start caring about your characters, your world, or your story. And end it with a reason for the readers to click on your first episode. Will he find love? Will they solve the puzzle? Can they eat 20 pizzas an hour? Will they find the grocery store or just end up at an Indian restaurant that my roommate bought? But it doesn't always have to end on a question, but tell me what your story is, why I should care, or how it is different than other stories. Don't be afraid also to create a call of action at the end of your episode. A call to action is like when I say, you should like and subscribe to this video. Ask them to follow you on Instagram or Twitter or whatever it is. Ask them to comment on what they thought of the episode, or to rate your comic 5 stars, or just tell them to check out your Patreon page. Which brings us to Patreon. Yes, you should have a Patreon page. Even if you don't have any fans, have it in place, ready to go. You don't want to leave your first fan hanging without any way to support you. Just put in simple tier rewards, nothing that requires a lot of effort. You don't want to be caught off guard and then have to make 100 commissions you didn't plan on. Like a simple $1 thank you tier is going to be good enough, or you can also upload concept art or work in progress every month. You can worry about adding more as your comic picks up speed. You also want to have a place to interact with your readers outside of Webtoon, like Twitter, Instagram, or you can create a Discord. These would also be really good places to post your teasers and cover images if you want to build up hype. Make sure your characters' names are said, unless you're trying to keep the name hidden for some reason. It's easier for readers to fall in love with your characters when they can say, "I love Jiro," versus saying, "that green person is cool." Make sure your lettering is solid. Lettering is as important as your story and art. I am crazy for lettering. Make sure the size of your lettering is good. Make sure that it is easy to read. Don't clump a lot of words together without any art. I've made a bunch of videos about how to do professional lettering, do's and don'ts. Check them out. It's easy to have semi-decent lettering. Don't have creepy, crappy lettering. Also, try to get someone to proofread your comic. Spelling and grammar can really kill the flow of the reading experience. I know this can be hard to pull off for a lot of creators, but maybe, hit up your friends, parents, or even your teachers. If your comic was drawn as a traditional print comic, consider taking the time to edit it for the Webtoon layout. It's not a must, but if you can do it, do it. Part of the fun of Webtoon is going to be scrolling. I like scrolling. Try to make your episodes scrollable. Look at other comics to see how much space they're leaving between their panels. You don't want panels butting up against each other. Okay, so what advice do you have for first-time creators? What should they make sure they do or don't do before their launch? What pet peeves do you have? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to keep making comics easier, be sure to like, link, love, hug, and hit that sub button for more sweet, sweet goodness. Peace.